So what we're doing here, so we're talking about some travel trends here today. Now we don't have the answers, but hopefully we've got some questions and we've got some things to get you thinking about what's going on in travel and what you've got to do to make a real success of 2026. And wow, what a fast changing environment we've got at the moment. I mean, I'm not going to talk about the international arena and the framework there because that would take us a whole lot, and no one's got any idea on that there. But of course, we've not just got that; we've got big technology challenges coming at us. We've got new competitors coming at us. So it is a real big challenge. So as Peyton says, so I'm the founder of Vamoos. I wear several hats. I run a couple of hotels in Morocco, a yacht business in the Greek islands, and most importantly, I am also a travel agent or a tour operator, as we call them in the UK. I founded and run Flea Winter, a small tailor-made operation. So really feel that I'm really interested in what's going on and have some views on what's going on. I'm supposed to be moderating, which means keeping quiet and asking questions of our great speakers, who I'm just going to introduce in a minute, but there's a fat chance of that. I'm going to be getting involved and very much joining in on that. We're going to be taking sort of 45 minutes maximum. We're very strict on timing, as those of you do know for there, but it is really important that you guys contribute as well. There's a Q&A section or a chat section. If you can put your questions in, and not just your questions, but also your views as well, because as I say, we don't have the answers on this. We have plenty of ideas and plenty of suggestions, but everyone's got stuff to contribute. So definitely fire in the questions, fire in your viewpoints, and it will be really interesting to see, and we'll have plenty of chance to discuss and debate those. So yeah, as I say, that's the intro over with. So let me kick off straight away by introducing the first member of the panel here, who's Sam Clark from Experience Travel. Sam, turn your screen on. There we go, and your mic as well. Go on, yeah. So Sam, if you just want to introduce yourself quickly.
I'm Sam, co-founder of Experience Travel Group. We're a tour operator that specializes in South and Southeast Asia.
Thanks, Sam. And yeah, before we get into the sort of the big travel trends, it is of course those first 2 weeks of January. And for you and I, we're both mainly based in the UK, selling holidays to Brits and Europeans. So it is probably our biggest month of the year. How has it started?
Yeah, it's the phony war a little bit. The first 2 weeks of January,
It is.
waiting for the funnel to fill. So yeah, it's looking promising in terms of the funnel filling. There's plenty of activity, plenty of inquiries, plenty of things coming through the website. So that is looking good. The bookings that are coming in are quite high value. So the average sales value is high, which is good. Quite a few last minute, which is always good to get those in and through and fill that capacity that we can still see throughout our destination. So yeah, all in all, I would say cautiously positive.
Okay, and in terms of destinations or types of trips, anything standing out?
Well, as you know, we're all about that kind of full immersive, once in a lifetime kind of adventures and getting it out there. So that's always where we're at. And I think we're just increasingly seeing clients open to that and looking for, those trips that really create those memories they'll always last for them. So yeah, we're really seeing people pushing their budgets to do special things. We're starting to see families coming interestingly for the summer, which is good as well.
No, that's good. That's good. Well, from my perspective, I think we've seen an okay start to the year. As you say, it's you come in with such high expectations. You expect the tills to be ringing on the 1st of January, and of course, it is about a funnel. It's about people getting in touch. Thing. We're not super excited about the level of inquiries, but the bookings that are coming are good. And I think this is something we're going to be something you mentioned, and I'm seeing as well. Definitely high value, which on the one hand is absolutely amazing. On the other hand, I am a little bit concerned that we are sleepwalking a little bit into just seeing a smaller number of clients spending more and more money. And where's that going to go long term? And I'm not, that is not throwing a dampener on things, but I definitely think it's something that we need to look out for. But we're going to come back to that for sure
Yeah.
later in the discussion. Right now, so our straight on to our second panelist, Jason, if you want to switch yourself on, so to speak. Um, now,
Definitely. Thank you, Alistair.
now it's very dark where you are, Jason.
Yes, yeah, I'm in California, so it's about 6 a.m. here, so
Uh,
nice and early.
Okay, well, I hope you got some sleep to last
Yeah,
night. But
I did. I
thank you for
did.
joining us.
Thank you.
So Jason's joining us, an ATTA specialist in adventure travel, and this is really, and he's going to be talking to us a little bit about some of the trends. And for me, this is really interesting because what was last decade's adventure is this year's regular trip. So even if you're watching and like me, you're not an adventure specialist, I think we have enormous things to learn for some of the trends that are going on there. So yeah, do a bit of an intro, Jason, and then just dive
Definitely.
in.
Okay, let me pull my screen up here. All right. So, yes, thank you for having me. Welcome everyone to the call from all around the world. It's great to see such a broad audience. Uh, as I said, I'm calling in from California. It's nice and early here, getting a quick start to the day. And we're going to be talking a little bit about a recent consumer research that ATTA has done and focusing on how the adventure travel market is growing. What is adventure travel and how is it being defined, and how are consumers helping change that definition? And also, how are the travelers changing? So I'm Jason Reckers. I'm the founder and CEO of Nexus K3. We're a human-centered AI coaching firm working with tourism companies. And that comes from my background as the former COO of ATTA for 20 years. And I'm continuing on as a business advisor. So I continue to stay engaged directly with ATTA, and we have a number of projects that we work on together. So the first question we're always asked is, what is adventure travel and how do we define it? Historically, as an organization, we focused on the heart of adventure travel being an experience or itinerary that is a combination of nature, activity, and culture. Yet, as we see here, what we're finding is through our research that we've been doing over the years and more recently in late last year, is that consumers and travelers are saying, "Hey, we see adventure as broader than just those things. It may be focused on wellness specifically, a challenge, etc." So we are actually seeing that definition broaden out more. So the research we conducted last year in Q1 and released at the end of 2025 was supported by EF Adventures and CBI, and it was focused on international outbound travelers. So what that means is that the research was focused on zeroing in on those travelers who leave their country of residence and go abroad for an experience. They travel internationally, whether that is from the US outbound or from the UK outbound, from Sweden outbound. So this is a global study that was done, and we had respondents from 13 countries. Some of the key findings, I'll hit the key findings and then dive into the details here. But the market is growing and it's growing fast. It's now a $1 trillion market. The definition of adventure travel is changing as you saw, it's broadening. We're seeing cultural experiences highlighted. Sustainability is always at the heart of adventure travel, and luxury focus is also growing, where we're actually seeing a number of high-end, high net worth individuals tend to be the ones that are traveling more. That's increasing. Those at the lower end of the market who have are not high-end net worth individuals. We're starting to see that tail off a little bit just because of the economic environment and what's going on globally. But we don't know yet how much that's going to stick and how much that may change over the coming months in the year. So out of that 5,000 travelers that we surveyed, what we found is 67% of those are what we would consider travelers who are open to adventure. So at some point in their vacation or holiday, they are incorporating in adventure activities. So it's important to be thinking about how to serve that market. What are they looking for? How are they, what experiences are going to resonate with them? We also found from our last survey, which was in 2017 on this market sizing report, that the core adventure audience, those that we would consider core adventure travelers, grew from 30% to 40% of this audience. So that's also an interesting insight from the last time we did this. If we take that group of 67% outbound travelers and we break that down even further, what we find is a mix of levels and interests in adventure travel. One is at 14% adventure intensives, so those that are more focused and dive deeper into more difficult or challenging adventure experiences. Those that are focused on nature enthusiasts at 14%. And then I'm going to skip to experienced samplers at 12% and come back to cultural explorers because I want to talk a little bit more about that. In that the experienced samplers, they are just a blend. So that tends to be the outside part of that circle you saw on the previous slide where they're not in the core, but they're that additional 27% that and in this case focused on 12% of that audience that is looking for a mix of different things. So they're looking to be in the city, in a nice hotel, visiting local restaurants, but then they may be actually going out and doing adventure activities 1 or 2 days of their experience. At 27%, which is what we were a little bit surprised by, but not completely, is cultural explorers. So those that want to dive deeper into the culture of the places that they're visiting, local cuisine, history, art, etc. And I personally think we don't have specific data on this, but I personally think this is a play out from the pandemic. What we're seeing is that people coming out of the pandemic see what happens when we get siloed away from our friends and neighbors and people around the world. We want to dive deeper into humanity and understand other parts of the world and what how other people live and experience life. If we put a dollar figure on this, those that we are open to adventure, we've calculated that out to be 1.16 trillion US dollars. If you compare that to the trend, so in 2009 we did this study, it was 89 billion. 2017 it was 683 billion, and we are actually expecting the rate of growth of this to accelerate, and by 2032 to be at 2 trillion market value. So this is a breakdown of the demographics of that full 67% audience. I'm going to just move through these slides slowly here, but here's a breakdown of age, gender, relationship, are they married or single, work and career, are they working full-time, part-time, or retired, household income, how's that breakdown, and the travel style. Are they traveling as couples or as part of a family or solo? So to go back to those segments that I outlined earlier, we can start to break down this a little bit further. You'll have access to these slides, so I'm not going to cover everything here. But adventure intensives are typically seeking dynamic blend of challenge, comfort, and connection. They're motivated by adventure, cultural immersion, and personal growth. They're going to challenge themselves and push themselves a little bit further, and they're looking for memorable experiences. Nature enthusiasts are curious and conscientious travelers. They're focused on nature, culture, and connection. They want to get deep into the nature, spend some time. They want to move slower through that experience. They don't want to be rushed from place to place to place. They want to get to a place where they know they're going to experience the nature that they're looking for, whether that's landscape or hiking or bird watching. And so if they're bird watching, they're going to want to get to a place and have some time built into their itinerary in order to make sure to capture all the potential opportunities that they can find in that experience. Cultural explorers, as we talked about, it speaks to, the names calls it out. They like to know more about the people and the place. They want to dive deeper into that and get to be and connect with people at their and it's not just one of the thing misconceptions here sometimes is the thought that this a cultural experience is something that is a focus on the past, a dance or presentation that is being shown by the local culture. But this also means going to the pub after a great experience, sitting down with the locals, having meals in hideaway restaurants that are not the typical chain restaurants that you might find in a place. So they want to dive deeper and go get closer to the people and understand who they are, how they think, what are their challenges, needs, expectations in life, and share those experiences together. Experienced samplers are they just like to sample. They like to do different things. They are focused on cost and comfort. So they're going to want that comfortable overnight stay, but they're also going to want to get out and try a few things and experience a little bit of nature, a little bit of the culture, a little bit of activity. One they might be down, shopping one day, but the next day they may be out mountain biking that day. So they're interested in that mix. So as you think about your itineraries and how you work with these clients, just keep in mind that they're going to want a little bit of different element from day to day. So I'm going to quickly share a couple slides here that are actually not the consumer research, but actually research we did with our tour operators, members of ATTA in 2025, early 2025, but the data is actually from 2024. And this is what they're reporting to us based on the itineraries that they're selling to travelers. So the hot trips are custom itineraries. People want custom. So pay attention and prepare for that. They want soft adventures. They want to move slower through those experiences. They like to eat. And we've also seen that women-focused trips and solo travelers and the combination of the two, solo women travelers, has entered the top 10. Trending activities, again, eating is at the top. I love to eat. I really have learned myself how to dive into different culinary experiences when I travel. So it's really surprising, and I'm always finding unexpected new experiences when trying new foods. So you can see safaris, cycling, wellness, and running also entered the top 10 this year. I won't spend too much time on this slide. You'll have this so you can dive in deeper. But what's cool about this is it actually shows based on these activities here on the right, how they have changed in interest since 2020. So you can actually start to map those out. So culinary is here at the top. You can see it was at the top in 2020, but it's been bouncing up and down. Safaris also had been moving. So you can take a closer look at that later. Key recommendations, focus, especially from an AI perspective. AI search is a big topic right now. And the best thing to do to get noticed by the AI search engines and platforms like ChatGPT and the others is to focus on a segment as tight and as close and as deep as you can get around particular segments and identify the experiences that you can provide tied to those experiences, the better you're going to show up because you're talking more about that particular group. When someone goes there, they're going to put in their preferences. They're going to say, this is the type of experience that I'm looking for. And that's going to tie better to your messaging on your website. So definitely focus on those market segments, look at how you can market to them, and then carry that experience through so deliver on what you market for that segment, and then that segment is connected to others that are interested in that type of experience as well. So they're going to take that experience that resonated with what they were looking for and market you better through word of mouth. So that's what I've got for today. So thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to follow up with me by email or scan the QR code for my business card. I'm happy to answer any questions at the end here or following.
Great. Yeah,
Thank you.
no, don't wait. Thanks, Jason. Don't wait for that. Put the questions down in the links below at the bottom of the screen, and let's get a discussion. But in the meantime, only myself and Sam are allowed to discuss. And that was dynamite. That was really, it's really interesting. And I've got this, for me, any adventure travel presentation that puts eating number one is my sort of presentation,
It's the best part.
my sort of presentation. But no, but seriously, there's some really interesting things you've said there, and it goes back to pretty much what I think I said at the beginning there. So you're seeing the low end sort of tailing off a little bit. And do we think that's because it's disappearing and either the low end just doesn't exist anymore, or are these people who are just sorting stuff out themselves and so aren't seeing it through the tour operators?
Yeah, the what we're seeing, and especially in the US right now, a little bit of a mess, to say the least. But what we're finding is people are just tightening their wallets. They're not they're the because of the geopolitical environment, they're uncertain about what to do, where to go. They'll stay more local. So they'll travel more domestically. I'm part of the Beyond Borders um, tourism group, which is a group of associations in the North America in US and Canada. And there's a lot of discussion about the cross-border challenges. And so Canadians are staying in Canada or going to Europe.
Mhm.
You Americans are staying in the United States or going to Europe. They're still traveling. Don't get me wrong, there's still plenty of travel happening. But at the same time, what we are seeing is that tightening a little bit on the lower household income um, audiences.
No, okay. I mean, that's a global trend, isn't it?
Yeah.
The top is getting richer and the middle's staying the same, and the bottom is finding it very tough indeed. And that you don't need to be a economist to work that out. And funny enough, I actually
Yeah.
think in the same way that if Americans are traveling a little bit less because of the international environment, I reckon that's why Brits are traveling more, do it while they can.
Probably.
Are going, hey, if I'm going to go, I got to go now before
Exactly.
someone does something stupid. And my second
Yeah.
question, and then Sam, I'm sure you've got some as well, do. And that's it. And you said because it's which sort of ties in and sort of conflicts with this all through the segments, this trend towards more luxury. So even if you're, climbing El Capitan, you still want to stay somewhere nice at the end of the day, which is I think really which is very interesting. It's adventure, but not at any gut. But we want to have a chilled time as well. Am I reading that
Mhm.
right? Jason, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no,
Sorry. I thought you
is
asked
that right?
Sam.
Is that the right?
Yes. Yes. I apologize. Yes. That's what we're seeing overall is, especially on the luxury space, they want that luxury, hotel lodge stay. Doesn't mean that's always what's happening, but that's in general what we're seeing. And but they do want to go out and have a challenging experience. They want to be pushed. They want to dive deeper into places. Etc. And then they come back and they enjoy the evening together with the group.
Sure. Sam, any
Yeah.
thoughts on?
Yeah, I mean, it's music to my ears because it's where we sit as a company. But I think what's interesting is people outside of those core adventurers that you talked about. The next stage of people, they want to have a touch of adventure, but in order to be able to do that, in order to be able to kind of get out their comfort zone, they need the basics taken care of. And
Yeah.
we're living in an unstable environment. It feels like everything's coming at us. So you want that relaxation. You want to know that those basic essentials are covered, and then you can relax and do things that you wouldn't normally do. And really, that's kind of what holidays are all about. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
And what's this point? This point, I'm slightly you touched on it towards the end when you were talking about the marketing, Jason. This idea of going really deep and being a specialist in something, and that which is sort of, and I guess I don't know, Sam. That feels you and I we're sort of not that way. We're doing more general holidays and putting a bit of specialism into it. Is that a conflict there? Are we going to be fighting? I don't know, Sam. Let's put it in a Sri Lanka context. Someone who does, amazing hikes to Adam's Peak in that sense, and they specialize in that, and therefore are they going to take that rather than a more general Sri Lanka option that also adds an Adam's Peak sort of hike to it? I'm
I, I,
I'm sort of a
yeah,
bit conflicted on what that
I think the
means.
key is the marketing because it's about
Yeah.
getting in front of people with the right interest. So many times you'll have a client who's, maybe one of the couple is really into wildlife, the other one less so, but is interested in doing a little bit, and they want to touch different things. So how do you get in front of them in the first place?
Yeah.
Especially as Jason was saying, in terms of generative GEO and that kind of thing, and focusing on an interesting angle in those areas is what we do. That comes back to us specialist tour operators. That's what we're amazing at. So looking at that. So if we can talk about that, but focus our marketing instead of going off in a million different directions, my takeout from Jason's slides was really to make sure we're thinking about one of those segments in kind of every single piece that we're doing so that we can engage someone from the group, someone of interest and get them focused on all the other things they can do as well.
Yeah. And I would say that's spot on. And really it's if you're a very small business just getting started, whether you're a travel agent just wanting to sell experiences or you're a small tour operator just getting started, what we're seeing is that the deeper you go before you start adding other types of experiences, so pick one of those segments, focus on that segment, go deep in your content and insights that you're sharing through blogs and record, videos and your marketing, and so that you can more easily capture them in the AI search engines, because the search engines are looking for where's their deep knowledge,
Yeah.
and that's who they're identifying as the experts. So that's what they're exposing. If you're bigger business, a bigger company that has multiple lines and focusing on multiple of those segments, uh, take the time don't take the time to dive deeper into each of those segments in your content and knowledge that you're presenting on your site as best as possible, and rather than being comfortable with just the top line, just the basics for each of those. And it will help you create that marketing. And also what we're finding is that when somebody goes to a search engine like Google, we're starting to see that traffic drop off some. They're going to AI. When they go through AI, what we're finding is that the click-through rate is lower, the traffic is lower, but the conversions are higher. So, and also what's happening is they're doing a lot of their research there to start. So when they come in, they're more ready. They're more prepared. They've already done their research, and then they pick only two or three companies that may come up in their search, and then they dive deeper on that company with, okay, can I trust them? What are the packages? Does it fit what I'm looking for? And then what we're also suggesting is that you make sure that you carry what you sell them, make sure you carry that through the experience, both leading into the experience, going through it, and coming out of it. And that's going to solidify them as a passionate promoter of your business to other friends and family.
So what I'm hearing from that is, we need to be focusing on going deeper, not broader, really at the moment. That's how
Yeah.
we get, because the AI will give the broad answer, but it's our kind of deep specialism, both in kind of answering the phone, but also, in the marketing up front, really looking at deeper.
No,
Yeah.
exactly, Sam.
Pick a
Yep.
segment. Oh, sorry.
No, go on, Jason. Go on.
I was going to say, pick a segment, go deep. Once you've got that pretty well dialed in, and then you want to expand, then move into another segment and then go deep into that segment.
No, I
And
was
that's
going to
great
say
advice.
exactly the same thing. So it's not a question of only being a single specialist on a single thing. You can be a multi-specialist, but
Yeah,
don't skim the top. You've got to choose
correct.
right. Whether it, I mean, it almost doesn't matter how many you're going to do, but you've got to do each one properly. If you can't do it properly, don't put the time and effort into it. And I guess it is about commit as always. It's committing for the long term, saying, right, I'm
Mm.
going to put my eggs in this basket in this segment, and that could be a type of holiday in a destination, and I'm going to do the do the blogs, do the vlogs, do the proper get the proper communications going that really focuses on the end user, of course, but also the AI search engines as
Yeah.
Without forgetting the actual product part of it, because again,
Correct.
we've got to be able to deliver on that depth in country to make sure we've got that all the way through.
No.
Exactly.
That's absolutely fantastic. Well, that's amazing. And one of the amazing things is about is we've got half an hour through a webinar. And we've hardly touched on AI at all, other than those messages. But I think we're you know it clearly it for me it does have a major role to play, and the biggest role it can play is making things easier for us to do. So we as organisations are doing less on the administration and more on these things we've just been talking about, these areas of our expertise, whether it is talking on the phone to a potential client or writing a blog or updating a website. And for me, that's the that is the big win on that on how that goes. And certainly, at Vamoos, we are launching a whole suite of different sort of AI products in the next 2 or 3 months. In that sense, that are designed to absolutely do that, to make organized travel as efficient and slick as it can be, so that us can focus on where that real value
Yeah.
add. I think that's going. And on that subject, he says, sashaying into that, we've got Peyton coming back into demo our first of those new products, the Imsert tool, which we launched at the end of the year, which is designed to bring imagery to life. And this is very much exactly this is when you want that image that shows off that absolute specialist activity, you use Imsert. And if you can't do that, then ask Peyton. Peyton, over to you.
Yes, absolutely. Alistair gave a pretty good demo to the product. As we've heard a little bit in this webinar, AI is going to be a part of 2026 travel trends, and that's going to be on the traveler and tour operator side, which is why we here at Vamoos have released Imsert, our image management and organization platform that is powered by AI. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, give you a look at the Imsert backend, and show you the AI tools that the platform has and that can help you organize your images and manage your images. So this is an overview of the Imsert backend. You can see that I already have lots of my images in here. If you want to pop in 1,000 pictures at a time, you would be able to do that. But for today's example, I'm just going to start by uploading 10 different travel images. And one thing with Imsert is that you can bulk add pictures from nearly any source. So you could pull that from your G Drive, from OneDrive, directly from your computer. And in this case, I'm just going to drag and drop a folder. And as you can see, there are 10 different travel images, mainly from different cities. And I'm just going to go ahead and upload those directly into my Imsert portal. And just takes a few seconds to actually get the pictures in. And then that's when the AI model is going to begin and do its work. All right, so just going to give the page a refresh. And as you can see, my images are now being analyzed by the AI model. And so for every picture that you upload in Imsert, you're going to get 6 tags that are automatically associated with the picture. And I'll show some examples based on the content within the image. And then also, if there's enough recognizable metadata that the model can gauge the location, which as you see for all of these there is, it also will give an automatic geotag to your image. So if I just click on these pictures, and as you can see, that took less than 30 seconds to get my image analyzed. It has first given me the exact geotag of Istanbul, Turkey. And then now looking at the tags that are just the general aspects of the image, we have the minaret, blue mosque, there's some people on a tour, it highlights the palm trees and the fountain. The model can also get quite specific with the landmarks. So if we go over to this picture from Athens, you can see it's actually specifically named the Acropolis and the Parthenon. And then going over to Oxford, again, it has very specific aspects of the picture, the building, the dome, Cupola, not going to try to pronounce some of these words. Going over to this London photo, it's got some general aspects. It's got boats, the flags, but also names that actual landmark. So Tower Bridge and River Thames. And so with all of these AI tags, this is how you can use the tool to have all of your images managed within Imsert. So you can search by various aspects. You can search by keyword, which primarily is going to be associated with the tags. Date range, so when you took the images, uploaded the images, and then also you can search by location. So I want to just make a folder of the pictures that I have for Athens. So I am going to search for Athens, and because Imsert has already tagged all of my images in the area, I don't have to do any work. I don't have to sort the images myself. The Athens pictures in my account are just automatically going to be pulled in for me. And then I can create a collection, which is essentially a folder based on my search results, which in this case are my. And in just a few seconds, I've organized my images by specific city. Another thing you can do, you might see this additional collection I have over here, which is Athens ruins. And so you can pair an image search with a keyword search. So in this case, I searched by location, and then I also did a keyword search for ruins, and I found my Athens images that have ruins in them specifically. Similarly, if I wanted to go over to Monaco, this is another location that I know I have a lot of imagery for. And in this case, if I wanted to, we'll go quite general, we'll go water and let that load in. Oh, maybe I need to do ocean for that one. I believe I have a different one in here. So we have palm trees as well. This is one where I just did a keyword search and all of my images with palm trees appeared. So you can see if I just wanted a general background picture, this one is just some cacti and some palm trees. This one's just some general palm trees that it actually found the location for. But I can use this if I just want a generalized background, or again, if I wanted images from a specific city with a specific feature. Because the model as well also tags those landmarks. If I have 100 pictures from London, I would be able to do my location search for images from London, and then I could also pair that with River Thames or Tower Bridge, and specifically within those 100 images, find my London pictures with the River Thames. And you can create as many collections as you'd like. You'll have all of your images organized in these various folders. And again, it's all powered by the AI model that we have. And then as well, if you are a Vamoos user, this will benefit you in your itinerary creation within Vamoos because Imsert will be also linked to your Vamoos portal. So if I'm going over and I want to build a new trip in Vamoos, London, you can see that image that I have just added into Imsert is going to appear. There's also a cropping tool in Imsert, so if I wanted to just have this focus on one half of Tower Bridge, I can as well. And a couple other tools as well is that you can like and dislike images. So if I want this picture to be the top photo when I'm searching for London images, I can like it. Or maybe I don't like the crop as much of this one. I'm going to dislike it so it shows lower in my search results. And then you can see that a different London image is my top recommended because I've moved that one up in the search count. So that's a general idea of the base of Imsert. You can bulk upload all of your images, leave it in the Imsert portal for the day, and then come back. And at the end of the day, you're going to have your 1,000 pictures tagged by our AI model and ready to organize and use on your website, on your itinerary builder tool, on social media, wherever you might be using your imagery.
Thank you very much, Peyton. Yeah, no, that's a quick insight into the. I mean, I know obviously most people on this will know Vamoos as an itinerary concierge app, and that is absolutely that is a core product. But we're looking to bring in some of these new products like Imsert, and there's plenty more exciting things which I don't think we have time for today, but you will definitely be hearing about coming through. And I think it's the good link there to what we were talking about before. It is about making it specific and specialist. I know I was using Imsert the other day for someone who was going on a holiday to Cape Town, South Africa. I knew they were interested in kite surfing, and I knew somewhere in our database of I think it's 15,000 images there was a kite surfing image of Cape Town, and found it. What would have been previously searching through files and files and files, it was found in milliseconds, and that's a great way of adding that specialization that we're showing there. So, but that is just one fun tool. And that brings us on to question from the listeners: at what point in the customer journey would you use AI, and when to use human? I don't know. Sam, Jason, any thoughts on that?
I can't switch on my video, but you can hear my voice presumably. So
we can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. Think it's really at the key moments where the customer wants to engage, and where there's going to be a key emotional hit. So that moment when they're planning, obviously, is a key one that you really want to get a human in there so you can understand them. Then if you can get a human again when they're starting to think about going on holiday, when they're starting to worry about things like that, and then of course, most obviously, but most importantly, when they're traveling themselves, getting in people at the right time. But I think AI has a big role to play in getting the right information to people at the right time when they're just looking for information, rather than closed question as opposed to an open question.
Jason, any thoughts on that?
I would reaffirm that. I think, keeping your team and humans involved as much as possible is the key. And balancing that in a way that, one example that I give often is, if you have a chatbot that has the knowledge of the experience. So let's say you've sold an itinerary to a client. They're getting prepared. They're 3 months out. They're getting excited. They're starting to plan. Well, what kind of gear do I need? What's going to happen on this particular day? And they're lying in bed at midnight, stressing about this particular question, but they know you're not available. Then that's where AI can play in very well, right? Because they can come to your site, come to the chatbot for that trip, ask a question, and get an answer to satisfy that concern. Yet it may still leave them with concerns. So then the next day they may want to take that chat and reach out and say, I want to talk to somebody on the team about this because I'm still not clear. And then when your team is ready to respond quickly, that continues to build that trust. So trust points are important. Everywhere in your cycle that you see is a key element to build trust, put a team member there. That's the human engagement. Make sure you build and maintain that trust. Use AI to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, no, I think, as I say, we're not even scratching the surface yet. AI can help enormously, and as long as people know there are humans there, if needed, then let's push the boundaries, and in that sense. And I did a presentation where one of my team had generated they'd taken a standard itinerary from my tour operator, Flea Winter. They turned it into a video of the slideshow of the trip, automatically choosing the photos, automatically writing the script, and using my voice to do the voiceover. And I presented it to a group of people, and I think everyone over the 40 said, "Oh, that's shocking, that's awful." Everyone under the age of 40 said, "Yeah, why not? It's great. Why wouldn't you do that?"
Yeah.
And I just think, as you say, we're going to have to challenge ourselves constantly on that. And
Alisdair, one of our travel advisor partners in the US, she takes the itineraries that we do and they make an AI podcast version of it. Send it out to their clients. Their clients can literally ask questions of the podcast. But I think it goes back to something you said. They don't try and pretend it's not AI. They just say it's a souped up version of the itinerary.
Yeah, I've generated this for you. That's all they need to know. That's all you need to know on it in that sense.
And then the clients listen to it in 10 minutes when they're in the car on the way to work, or whatever
that's
it is.
A great example. 30 seconds to production to give 10 minutes of great, really value. And it's taking our knowledge and lifting it up to to
I listen to the podcast. There's not a thing that we hadn't said or intended in there.
No. It's like I say, everyone who's listening, just push the boundaries the whole time, and there will be, maybe there is an end somewhere, but we're nowhere near it yet, for sure, in that sense. So I'm just looking through. So we had one other question, technical question: what tools does Imsert integrate with? Well, obviously with Vamoos, as Peyton showed you, is a WordPress plugin. So I use that it generates all the images on our website, all automatically, so that you don't have to search. It just links in directly. It's got a very simple API and can link in with just everything. I know some of the booking systems, the res systems, are already integrated with it. So and that was a job of a few hours. So lots of opportunity there. But that's just another example. Now we are up time. I said we would not be more than 45 minutes. We've been 46, so I've broke my rule. I see Peyton's appeared on the video, and that means I'm in trouble. So thank you, Jason, and thank you, Sam. That was a fantastic discussion. I hope it gives everyone lots to think about to really have a great 2026.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you all for joining us, and I'm just going to quickly pop up. If you are interested and would like to book a demo with Vamoos or even get more information about Imsert, if you could just scan this QR code on the screen. And again, thank you all so much for joining us today. Thank you, Alisdair, Jason, Sam, for being here. We hope that you've enjoyed learning about some of the predicted 2026 travel trends. And if you have a question or would like to get more information from any of our panelists, you can just email us at support@vamoos.com and we'll be happy to help.